In the quaint village of Elders Hollow, myths and shadows intertwined, weaving tapestries of whispers that swirled with the autumn winds. The heart of these myths was the old Crossroads, a place where the boundaries between worlds were reputed to be perilously thin. Here, beneath the gnarled branches of the Elder's Watch, a centuries-old tree, the villagers gathered each year during the harvest moon to celebrate and perhaps to ward off the spirits that lurked close by. Evelyn, a practical young woman, had recently returned to the village, inheriting her grandmother's old bookstore. She had spent years in the city, immersed in the logic of finance, far removed from the superstitions of her childhood. However, as the harvest moon approached, she felt an inexplicable pull towards the old stories she had once adored. On the eve of the festival, as the moon hung heavy and golden in the twilight sky, Evelyn decided to walk to the crossroads. The chilly air prickled her skin as she maneuvered through people garbed in traditional attire, spirits high with festivity, and perhaps a touch of fear. Old Mrs. Wilkins, the village history keeper, spotted Evelyn and waved her over. "Be careful around these parts tonight, dear," Mrs. Wilkins warned, her voice a conspiratorial whisper. "The veil is thin, and not all spirits are merely tales. Listen to the winds, they might speak." Evelyn nodded, skepticism mingling with an unspoken thrill. "I will, Mrs. Wilkins. Thank you." As she approached the old tree, the chatter of the crowd faded into a forbidding silence. The knotted branches of the Elder's Watch seemed to groan under the weight of unseen forces. Evelyn felt her heartbeat quicken and her breath turn shallow. She remembered a piece of lore her grandmother had once spoken of, an artifact hidden near the crossroads that could grant the bearer insight beyond mortal comprehension. With her curiosity piqued, Evelyn began searching around the base of the tree. Her fingers brushed against something cold and metallic buried beneath a layer of fallen leaves, a small, ornate key, its surface etched with symbols that glowed faintly in the moonlight. As she stood up, key in hand, the air around her seemed to ripple like disturbed water. Whispers filled her ears, soft and insistent. "Return it," they said, or perhaps turn it, she couldn't be sure. The key felt heavy with purpose, pulling her towards an old, rusted gate she had never noticed before, partially obscured by dense brambles. Unlocking the gate, Evelyn stepped into what seemed like a different realm. The air was thick, and the moon cast elongated shadows that danced around her. Ahead, a narrow path stretched, bordered by mist and silence. The whispers grew louder, urging her on. She walked for what felt like hours or mere moments. Time seemed a fluid concept here, until she reached a clearing centered around a stone well, ancient and covered in luminous moss. The whispers guided her to look inside. As she peered into the depths, the moonlight illuminated scenes from Elders Hollow's past and glimpses of possible futures. The celebration of old traditions, the coming together of community, and her own role in weaving the new with the old. Realization dawned on Evelyn. She was now part of the myth, a keeper of the old and the new. With a newfound respect, she replaced the key where she had found it and made her way back to the festival, her heart full of stories yet to tell. The next day, as the harvest moon waned, Evelyn reopened her grandmother's bookstore, determined to revive the collection of local folklore and history. Elders Hollow embraced her initiative, the whispers at the crossroads now a whisper of the wind in her daily life, reminding her that magic was merely a perspective away.